Congratulations, your book's been published. Now the hard part begins. Promoting your book takes a lot more time than actually writing your book. Surprise. Well, part of that is working with a PR firm or working with publicity or getting publicity for your book so you get a big return on your investment. The trouble is PR firms cost a lot of money. So I'm wondering, will artificial intelligence replace PR people and replace the expense you might have for hiring a PR firm? So in today's episode, we're going to learn what AI can do and what AI can't do. Hi, I'm Janal, the author of Write Your Book in a Flash. I've written more than a dozen books, and I help business executives and subject matter experts write their books as a ghostwriter, book coach, or developmental editor. Now, let's get started. Our guest today is Jess Todtfeld. Jess holds the Guinness World Book of Records for most interviews done in 24 hours. He's a true PR pro. He's my go-to guy for media training and lots of other services. He has a new course on how to use AI in your publicity, and we'll give you a link for that later. But let's first talk about what can AI do and what can it not do, so authors can save a lot of money on publicity. Jess, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me. And yes, I am excited that AI can do so many things. It's exciting and it's also frightening. I think we're going to hash it out.
Okay, great. Let's start with what it can do. I mean, at the base of every PR campaign are written materials. There's the press kit, your author bio, press releases, sound bites, media points. What exactly can AI do to write those kinds of materials and other materials that I didn't mention?
So right now we're at an inflection point where we've heard a lot about artificial intelligence and all the buzzwords, and it's really taking shape at this moment. So of the choices at this moment, ChatGPT seems to be the best one. They were the first one to go big and worldwide, and there are some ones in other countries, and Google announced they have one called Bard, and they're working into their search engines. But if you go to OpenAI's, that's the name of the company, OpenAI, to their ChatGPT website, you'll Google it, everybody. And if you haven't been there, you probably have heard about it. Yes, it can do a lot. If you want to generate a press release, it can do it. And I'm going to talk about the nuances of what works and doesn't, and how it will spit out something junky and something great. It can also spit out potential questions that either you may get asked or people should ask you, or you want to give as part of a press kit. It can even create sound bites and messaging for you for your interviews, but you need to feed it the right information to start.
What kind of information does it need?
So it works off of basically the more information you give it, the better. You can't at this moment put in your entire book. I know I tried to put my entire book in there. I copied and pasted. It didn't work. It said too much stuff. Jess, please stop. But what I did was I took, I think, part of a chapter and I put it in and I said, can you summarize this? It gave me a summary. I said, can you do it as a blog entry? And it created a blog with bullet points. And I said, okay, can you create, and I'm just giving you the walkthrough of how I stumbled on this. And I said, okay, can you give me tweets then that we could put on Twitter based on this chapter? It did tweets. And then I said, add hashtags. And then it did it again. So for people who haven't used this tool, the reason why it's a chat bot, basically, a chat GPT. GPT stands for something that I don't have right in front of me, but it's something
it doesn't matter.
Generative.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a transformer. It's confusing. It wasn't aptly named, but you continue the conversation. So if you say rewrite that, but do this, it will do it. It's almost like what we've seen in science fiction movies of, hey, go write this thing for me. And Dan, you wrote about it in your book about how to use some of these tools for creating a book, and some of the principles are similar. So what I would do for creating a press release is to put in a paragraph's worth of information about your book, about what you're excited about, and what the tone that you want it to have, and then say, and you have to tell it, please write me a press release. You have to tell it what it's going to do. Then it does it. And then when you look at it, it might mention, and actually I did that for this course, and it mentioned that I bring up social media and some other things, which I don't really. I talk briefly about it, but it's not the heart of it. I don't want it to confuse people. So I said, now do it again. Don't mention social media in the press release, but bring up this and bring up the pain points that it's helping people avoid, and also the benefits, just like you would come up with ad copy. And now it was even better. And you can keep telling it to go back and refine, and it will create all of this in real time.
That's amazing. It's like having a PR person on the other end of the line, but you're having a PR person who doesn't mutter underneath his breath saying, I can't believe they changed the hashtag again. Are they nuts? So,
Right.
okay. We'll chat cheap, but a good PR person will actually push back against a client who is overstating the case. This is the best book on leadership you'll ever see. This is the only book on leadership that you'll ever need to read, and other crazy things like that will instantly turn reporters off. Will ChatGPT cover your butt like that?
If you ask it to tone it down or not to say some of those things, but as I'm saying this out loud, if somebody is putting the information in about themselves, they probably won't have those thoughts. So you bring up an excellent point, which is the human brain is still important at this moment in time. You think, oh no, we're no good anymore. So when you put in the information, you still need to think all of the thoughts that you would have, which is this overstating? Is this understating? Is this factual? By the way, here's something very important. These tools just came out. They're not perfect. Many times they're spitting out data that is just slightly off factually or very off factually, or has some sort of bias, whether it's by sex or age or religion or you name it. You need to definitely be the last voice going through, refining, and changing. And as you open this up saying, is this going to replace PR people? I think that it will definitely help the do-it-yourselfers, but people still need to email and reach out or follow up to get the interview. I mean, that's another job of public relations practitioners. And as long as people are okay with that, that's, as of right now, that's not one thing that the chat bots can do for us. And I say that smiling, thinking, how would they? Because these tools are able to write computer programs, and somebody will write a program that will have going on social media, on Facebook Messenger, or using texting if people have a phone number. And at some point, we'll have a back and forth conversation with a journalist, and we'll answer all the questions the right way, and we'll set the interview up. They actually have those tools already for people who have their own business or any level of business, and can have a back and forth chat like that leading up to a phone call. So those tools are on the way, just to make something interesting, exciting, and scary. We don't know what it's going to say, but people can at least do 90% of the whole equation. You still need to reach out to me.
Yeah, I can imagine that my chatbot will call an editor's chatbot, and they will hash through all of these things. Here's the pitch. Are you interested? Yes, no. Yes, we're interested. Great. When can we talk? Here's my calendar. Go to here. Great. What are the questions you want to ask? What are the bullet points?
Right. Yeah.
And I suppose they'll have some talking head that will be an avatar who will actually be the person interviewing you, who may not even really exist.
They already have it. They already have it. You can either pay on some of these sites. You can generate text on one of these chatbots. You can input it, and it's a talking head that moves around. They don't use their hands for some reason, so it looks even more artificial when actually it's mainly their mouth and a little bit of their face moving. It's strange. This is another area where it's not good. And there's some services will record your face and train it so you can just put the text in and you can create videos. All of this is on the way. But in the meantime, for people who I know you have a lot of experts and authors who listen to this, and PR practitioners. And it's definitely a way to streamline this part of the process. And anything that you're kind of struggling on, or whether it's the full press release or how do I say this, you can put it in. I was with a friend just recently who said, I came up with a new title for, it was either his speech or a book he was going to write. And he said, we're a few of us, what do you all think of this? And I said, I think you should put it in Chat GPT and ask it for 15 other examples or ways it would. I've actually put in, how would you make this better? And it spits out, we're all going to start learning the phrasings. So a lot of times I'll put something in and say, how would you make this better? And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it really does make it better. And as writers, sometimes we use some of the same words and we say some of the things in the same way. And this is the beauty of having an editor. We really can think of these tools as another type of editor and another type of brain along the way.
Yeah, two quick anecdotes. I was working with a client who was writing a book about financial planning, and we outlined the entire book in less than 45 minutes with all these ideas, like what would the outline of the book be? It came with 15 chapter titles, and they were all good. They were all good. Then we outlined each chapter within the book, and it came up with 6 or 7 prompts for each chapter, and they were all good. And now my client doesn't have to wonder about what am I going to write about today, because they have this whole master plan that they can work with. So the other way I used it is that, I'm a journalist. I write, straight, unemotional copy. So I'm really bad at marketing stuff. So I asked it to write the back cover copy for my new book on pickleball. And damn, if it didn't do a great job. It had selling tone. It had, here's how to buy the book. It was perfect. I changed maybe 3 words. It was phenomenal. Jess, as we're wrapping up here, tell us a little bit more about your new course on Udemy. What topics do you cover? What's the URL? How can people sign up for this?
If people go to Udemy, Udemy, it's like like Udemy. It's where online live on the internet. People can go and search for supercharge your PR. It's actually Chat GPT to supercharge your PR and media training. So it includes even some details on how to use this after you get the interview. You can create sound bites. And I give the elements that I have in a book that I wrote called Media Secrets on how to create sound bites. If you take the 14 elements, you can put it right in and say, now rewrite this as sound bites, and it will create them. So you can use them in the press release, in the actual interview. And another thing I want people also to realize, it's something I touch on the course, but I'm sharing right now, is your actual pitch, your hook, the 1-sentence headline that grabs them. You can have a starting place, but you can ask it for 10, 20, 50 ideas for all of the different angles that you could talk about in an interview, and then start generating what you might say on that. And of course, what you might say, but it'll help get you there a little bit faster, and you can add to it. So people can use this tool to get an interview more likely because they have a better, smarter headline. And yes, they can go over to Udemy, check out the course. It should be on sale right now. A few times a month, they run a sale for 82% off, and they can check it out.
Yeah, we were talking about buying the course for $10, please. But of course,
usually like 10 or 14.
Yeah, Jess actually makes his money by doing media training. So, Jess, if you if some of our people listening here needed media training for those actual interviews, where would they go?
They can learn all about me by going to bookjess.com, and it has all the different things about my training and speaking and some other stuff. So they can go over there and see what that's about. And it's such a pleasure to be able to share this with your audience.
My pleasure. We've learned a lot. We've covered a lot, and I'm sure there's a lot more to go beneath the surface here. Jess, thanks so much for listening, and thanks everyone for listening. We have more than 175 other interviews on this YouTube channel to help you write your book in a flash. Check them out. Thanks. Bye.